How much he takes on astrology and how much he has time for, how much he can concentrate, that's debatable. He's there, he's going, he's moving at his own speed. Slow down a bit, but it's a good direction. It's not taken away. There might be other things he's studying, but he's building up skills. And sooner or later, he's going to want to use those skills more and more and put them out more and more. So he might have this job to satisfy his cancer security. I got a steady income. It's coming in. That'll sit there. And he can work like most people. They have the job and they build up astrology on the side until it becomes big enough or prominent enough that maybe he can change over to that or something else stronger. But he has, the astrology suits his chart nicely because it suits his Jupiter, Uranus, and the first is, I'm doing that, I worked at this, but I can do this. He has this exciting, his teaching, his mystic side. That's going to be a stronger part of his identity. But if Saturn goes up over the next 3 or 4 years, it's still opposing, as I said, until the kids are out of university. There's still a challenge to make sure he takes enough time for himself and doesn't fall into the habit of just doing everything for everybody else. So the kid's gone, the wife's out of university, this doorway's opening. Will he take it or won't he? It's part of the puzzle. Okay, where are we with our time? Okay, good. Now, we're going to come up to the 8-year graph. So that's, I mean, it doesn't answer everything. We can get into it if we have specific things where there's problems. Sometimes you'll see a link between, let's just go back on the Saturn time a little bit more. Sometimes you see a link between when Saturn opposed the Sun in 89, that was when he was finishing school, questioning the purpose of life and fighting against the church and trying to find his own way. And then he met his wife shortly thereafter. As Saturn opposed the Sun, there was the delay. Then it opened up. So he's just having this delay. That was then. When he met his wife. Now he's at a point where, well, we had the wife, we had the kids, we had the family. Well, she's going to get work probably being busy with her stuff. So we can't just sit at home to be with her. He's going to have his stuff starting to go. Or maybe she's going to be at home, whether she's working or not, I don't know. If she's not working, she might find the job. If she didn't, that's its own problem. But he's needing to fight to get some time for himself, or he could repeat this whole cycle again, just backing off and doing things for not doing his, keeping the astrology as a hobby. But for his psychology, having astrology a hobby, having a little career on the side, even if it's a side thing, it's still an important and a valuable thing for him that links into mysticism, to other thinking. It's still a useful thing to build him up. But what I did, I just came back to look at this because I saw that I would try to connect the two different oppositions. The last phase was just before he met his wife. He wasn't happy. He wasn't there. He was feeling hemmed in, stuck in the business. What's working? Where's he going? And his world he still hadn't got completely out of the family in the past. Shortly thereafter it happened. So he's right there now. Now again, the kids are grown. They're at university. They're at home. The wife's not at university anymore. It's a whole new world coming in. It's going to open up in another big way again. That's the next cycle. And the first cycle, build up to having the kids, to building up to career, to building up to 2002, which when he was doing well with his business, they closed the store before that, but he took on all the extra pressure as she closed the store, but he was carrying things. So you see, maybe they start some kind of business on their own for a while. Maybe it runs for the rest of life. Maybe it runs for 4 or 5 years. Maybe they end up doing something on his own. But it's not about hiding away. It's about he's too young, even though he's at midlife. He's past midlife. He's born 69, so he's 50. So at hitting 50, there's still too much alive. He's got another career to build up, another thing to build up, and to see what he can do. And he's hitting his peak in 2031. So that's 30. That's at 63, 64, or 63, 64. By the time Saturn hits his sun, it's Canada pension, and his other pensions click in, so he'll be established and could probably live on his hobby. So it's possible he may wait till that time to really live in his career, live in his hobbies, and be taken care of it by it. But if he has something that's pulling him money, he's not going to throw it away. The cancer is not going to throw that away quickly unless the astrology comes in and builds up strong enough to start pulling in enough income. Most likely, with his Mars Neptune, he probably will have a bit of both going on. Okay, so we got the general flow. Anytime you have one thing, you go back to see what's next. So Saturn on this descendant in 95. That's when we went to work for a friend and for a construction woodworking business. And this time is coming up next. Maybe he'll work. Maybe his wife and him will align around some new thing or new level or something that's not involved with what they were in before. Some new thing to build up, or a friend might come in. So you're waiting to see what's going to be, what catalyst is going to come in that's going to make him feel he needs Moon in the seventh house to have to change his pattern, get out of the house to go do something and go make something go up again. And that's there. So we're seeing the general direction of where he's going. We've got a good texture. His life is going here. This is his reality. We've got this is what he needs to know. This is the main advice. Everything else is extra around it, whether it's easy or difficult, bumps that comes up and around it, while he's still trying to move this direction as best he can. He's already got his deep motivation. He's not going to get the next deep inner motivation comes in 2046. He's a lot older then, 45, 40, in 2045, 46. So 46 and 30, he's 70 something then. That would be the deepest mystical side. But that means in 2038, Saturn hits ascendant, the next identity crisis, as in 09 when he left the job, as in 08 when he was in school, but he had to stop associating to family in the same way. So you can see that you can follow these. We've gone around in circles to make the context to see the phase that they're going through. He's in growth and capacity, increasing his skills, so he can work at things that he likes better than just doing the same thing. And that's where the effort is. Then it's going above the horizon, growth and functioning, doing things, going things. So, maybe she decides she wants to travel more, and they're going to take more trips, and they have to pay for their trips, and they add the traveling into their lifestyle. So you can see the momentum is putting more energy out, but right now it's still on adding skills to get better, to keep improving the situation. Hopefully he doesn't fall back. The question becomes, does he fall back into the same routine? Does something happen to his wife that she makes a decision and determines the direction for his next 15 years? Very possible. But even so, he's still going to have to fight to maintain the astrology that started motivating him and building up his own ideas and his thinking for himself. He's got Mercury in Gemini. He wants to think for himself. Okay, so he's in this point of Saturn opposes Sun. It's finished. The kids are gone. All my motivation for doing things has changed. He doesn't know what he knows. Doesn't want to do that. Again, he wants new things to do. So this new motivations come in. It's being delayed somewhat at the opposition, and that's just over this 2019. And then it's still, but we see the course. That delay is leading to some retraining, some extra effort, so that it can build up and change what he does and what he works at, so it can build, and it builds up to status and career. And you can see that the next rest of his life is not about being at home more. It's about he's not going to be doing the soccer for the kids. He did that the whole time Saturn was below the horizon. Now those time demands are free. Maybe he has to figure out what hobby or what thing he might like to do. Maybe he takes up some soccer or something for himself to do something physical as well to balance things out, to keep him busy. Maybe keep him busy with the moon opposed Pluto. Maybe keep him busy so he's not just at home. He's not just doing what the wife told him to do or whatever. Like, it's changing. So this is the texture. This can be political, it can be challenging with the family. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to look at the chart and explain to you how my process of thought is coming and going through this, how I'm connecting the bio to the natal chart, to the character. And by the time I get to the timings, I'm fairly confident about knowing the person and seeing how it's reacting to the timings that are going on. I'm seeing where it's coming from, where it's going to. Now I've done my prep work. I'm almost well equipped to start doing the consultation. So I know what they need to know. This is what they need to know of where they're going. Okay, but there's still a piece missing, right? We still have the piece of the 8-year graph we've only looked at the Saturn going around to the south to the Sun in 3 angles. That's the main story. You get the Saturn right, you get the responsibility right, you get the duties right, you see the work being needed to be done. You see your depression, but you see you're working hard. You see the direction of your life unfolding like a seashell growing. And but there's all the other planets. They're all doing things. Everything else is still going on. The zoo is still going on out there in that zodiac or zodiac. So we have to see what the other planets are doing. We start to see what extremes or what circumstances come in on top of this that magnify or emphasize or challenge this normal Saturn cycle. If the other planets tend to take you away from it, and then you have to fight to get back to Saturn as soon as you can. But the other planets tend to demand certain times, take care of this, take care of that, and it becomes more of a struggle. But you're always trying to back up to this Saturn cycle. That's it. It buffers. It sets the priorities to dealing with the other planets. It guides. It allows Jupiter to get a good understanding of responsibility, so it can guide the Mars properly, and one can be prepared. So, with the idea of being prepared, we're looking at the 8-year graph. So, someone comes to get a chart done. You can't just judge from a chart. Well, you can, people do, but it's not as integral. You look back 4 or 5 years. You look ahead, you look 10, 20 years backwards and forwards. We've looked through the whole life to go through to see where someone's coming from, and we're looking forward 10, 20, 30, 20, 15, 20 years to see where it's going to. We got the vision of where it's going. We have the mainstream. Now we're looking at the specific details over the last 8 years, any big stuff coming up that was affecting him. Okay, so as we look at the 8-year graph now, make it a bit bigger. Okay, maybe one more. Okay, here we go. And when I go through the graph, I like to do each planet. Each planet's on a layer. We've got 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So usually you put the year you're in at 2019 in this bottom left-hand corner. So we have 4 years before, and this year and 3 more years ahead. So, okay, look, right now, last 2015, Pluto was opposing the Sun, and 2014. He was confronted as far away as it goes. Wonder if he can carry things. He's challenged, he's confronted. What's in 2015? We know that was one of the harshest years where he's got fear and confrontation and power struggles going on. 2015, we had, oh yeah, so 2014 to 15, he had the fights. Where are we here? 2014, his boss decided to let him go, but he kept working. So he lost his main job, but he still had the part-time work at the retail store. 2015, he started to get his pain in his hip and groin, and as well as lower and upper back pain. Well, January 2015. Look at January 2015. There's Pluto opposing the Sun in Cancer from Capricorn. The Capricorn back pain, confronting his Sun in Cancer, his sensitivity. It's harder for him to do things. There's pain, there's challenge. He can't keep working the way he was working. He can't keep carrying things the way he was. Yet he still did carry his wife for the next 2 years while she went to university full time. I do believe somewhere along this way, she even changed her degree that she was going for and add an extra year or so of studying to be able to get it. So that was part of this realization. Oh, geez. So like all of those things, the pain, those things came in at those time. That was the Pluto confronting the Sun. So we look at this chart. Oh, 1 second. Pull this down. Where's this chart? I put it over here.